Jessica. I'm not a professional baker, I'm just a girl who likes to make people smile, and what makes people smile more than fresh baked chocolate chip cookies? So I've spent years trying out lots of different chocolate chip cookie recipes, trying to find the perfect ones. Luckily, I have lots of dedicated friends and family members who are willing to taste test for me. I know many people are intimidated by the thought of baking things from scratch, but I'm here to show you how simple it can really be. Once you give it a try, you're never going to want to buy store-bought cookies again. So let's take a minute to get to know each other. Go ahead and turn to your neighbor and introduce yourself. Let them know what's your favorite baked good, and have you ever tried baking that at home by yourself? Great. So let's see a show of hands. How many of you have baked at home 1 or more times? And how many of you have baked at home 5 or more times? How about 10 or more times? Not very many, but that's okay. We're here to find out that baking is really not as hard as it looks. So the first thing I always do is look at the recipe. So each of you should have a copy of this on your chair. If not, if it went missing or you need an extra copy, no problem at all. We've got lots of them up here. You can come on up and we'll make sure everyone has one. Well, I always look over my recipe to make sure that I have all the ingredients and tools that I need. So there's nothing worse than getting halfway through a recipe and realizing you don't have enough eggs, or you only have 1 cup of sugar and you really need 2, and then you're just stuck with, nothing edible. So we have all of our ingredients laid out here. We have all of the tools that we need, and we're ready to get started. So at this point, we're going to turn on our oven. We want to make sure that it preheats. So we're going to get that going. And you want to turn on your oven at the beginning so it has plenty of time to warm up to the temperature, because that ensures that your cookies will bake through evenly. If you turn it on as you're placing the cookies in the oven, they might not bake evenly, they might be raw in the middle, they might get burned. You don't want to risk it. So turn it on now, give it plenty of time to heat up, and then you'll be good to go once you're all done mixing. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is measure our ingredients. I like to measure all of my ingredients first to make sure that I've got everything, enough of everything. That also makes it super simple when we're adding things to our mixer to just go. So if I could get an audience volunteer to come up and help me, that'd be great. Perfect, come on over if you want to wash your hands and then come help. So we're just going to go through our recipe here and start measuring things. So we need half a cup of butter, and I've got that here. 1 stick of butter is half a cup, so that is all ready to go. We also need half a cup of brown sugar. And so for measuring, we've got, I've got these measuring cups, I've got measuring spoons, and these smaller measuring cups, the individual ones, these are the type of measuring cups you want to use for measuring dry ingredients. The reason you want to use these for dry ingredients is because when you scoop something up, when you have too much, you've got a mound on top. It's super simple. So just take the flat edge of a table knife and just brush it off, and then you've got a nice even measurement. If you were measuring wet ingredients like water or milk or oil, you're going to want to use a bigger, clear measuring cup like this. So this allows you to see through and make sure that the liquid is level with that. We're not using this today, we just wanted to show you what they look like. So first thing we're going to measure, the next thing we're going to measure is our brown sugar, and we need half a cup of that. So we're going to do a half a cup scoop. Now brown sugar is kind of sticky, so we're going to just pat that in there, make sure it fills all the nooks and crannies. All right, so that's a nice good scoop. We're just going to put that in here and set it aside. Next, we need a 1/4 cup of regular white sugar. We're going to use our 1/4 cup. We're going to scoop that out, and that actually came out pretty even, so we're just going to put that there, set it aside. We need 1 egg. Now, I always crack my egg ahead of time into a bowl. That allows me to first have it ready, but also just in case I actually accidentally break it or get any shells in it, it's super easy to just scoop it out of a bowl, as opposed to once it's in with your other ingredients, it's a lot more difficult to get it all out. And you don't want to risk getting eggshells in your cookies. So we've got our egg there. We're going to need 3/4 cup of all-purpose flour. So I'm going to use 1/4 cup and just do 3 scoops of that. So see, this is what I was talking about. There's way too much on there. We're just going to use the flat side of a butter knife, push it off, and we've got a nice even scoop. We've got 1, 2, and 3. So we've got 3/4 cups there. Next on our list is going to be our baking soda. So we need 1/2 teaspoon of baking soda. Now the nice thing about most baking soda containers is they have this little ledge here, which makes it really easy to level out our scoop. So here I've got way too much on there. We're just going to use that little ledge, scoop it off, and now we've got a perfect even scoop. Put that in there. And we also need 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. Cinnamon there. We need 1.5 cups of our quick oats. So again, we can use a big cup and 1/2 cup. You can just do 3 1/2 cups, whatever is easier for you. It all comes out the same. So I've got 1, 2, and 3. So that's 1.5 cups we've got there. And last but not least, we need 1 cup of our chocolate chips. And I'm just going to pour those right here into our 1 cup. I like to use these little mini chocolate chips because they spread out more throughout the cookies, and then you know that you're going to have a nice good bite of chocolate in every bite you take. So I'm just going to leave those there in the measuring cup. And that's it for our chocolate chips, or for our ingredients. So the next thing we're going to do is mix all of our wet ingredients. So we've got a stand mixer here. So our wet ingredients is going to be our butter. My butter got a little bit warm, so it's sticking there, but that's fine. We'll just wipe it off. Yeah. And we are going to add our sugar, so our brown sugar and our white sugar, and then the egg. All right, so that's our wet ingredient. So now we're just going to go ahead and turn our mixer on. Now we're going to start off on low. We always start our mixer on low so that we don't send ingredients flying by turning it on too high. Now that butter, you'll notice it was soft. The reason for that, we want to use room temperature butter because we really want to cream together our butters and sugars to get them nice and soft and fully incorporated. If you use butter straight out of the refrigerator, it's going to be cold and clumpy. It's not going to cream up really nicely with that sugar. If you forget, that's no big deal. Pull it out of the fridge, stick it in your microwave for a few seconds, just a few seconds, enough to get it soft but not melted. I'm going to turn it up a little bit here, just get all that butter in there. Get it nice and mixed together. Oh, forgot to do forgot our vanilla. So our vanilla extract, we use 1/2 teaspoon of that as well. Now I don't like to measure my vanilla into another container first because then you're losing some in translation. So I just measure that way straight into my bowl. So I've got 1/2 teaspoon of that. Give that a little mix, make sure that's incorporated there. Perfect. Okay, I'll show you what it should look like. Okay, so there's the butter and sugar all creamed up together. It's nice and incorporated. I don't have any big clumps of butter. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is mix together our dry ingredients in a bowl here. So I've got my flour, I'm gonna add in my baking soda there, and my cinnamon. And I'm just gonna use a spoon to just kind of stir those all together. That makes sure that the cinnamon and the baking soda are incorporated into the flour, because once it gets wet, it'll start to clump up and we won't necessarily have that cinnamon and baking soda spread out. So I just want to give that a nice little stir. Easy peasy there. And we're going to dump that in. And I'm going to give that a mix. Now again with this, we want to start low, especially once you're adding flour in there. Also want to make sure you're both locked. When you're adding flour in there, you always want to start lower. You're going to get a big poof of flour smoke popping up out of there, and it'll be a big mess. So we'll start low, turn it up a little bit, and we just want to incorporate that flour into our butter mixture. And if you don't have a stand mixer at home, that's totally fine. You can also do this with a hand mixer. You can do it by hand with a spoon in a bowl. Because our butter is already soft, it's going to be super easy. You can mix that right up. You don't need any special tools for this. It's super easy. Okay, so that's all mixed up. Next, we're gonna add in our oats. And we didn't wanna add our oats in to start with because they are quick oats, which means that they absorb liquid quick, fast, that's why they're called quick oats. If we added those in at the same time, they would start absorbing and expanding, which we don't want them to do. We're just gonna add them in here last. And let those stir. Now these we just want to stir enough that they're incorporated into the rest of our dough mixture. They don't need to go for too long. So just enough that they're well coated and incorporated into the mixture. And once those are good, the last thing we're going to do is add in our chocolate chips. And you add those very last because you really just want them to be incorporated. You don't want to stir them around too much or they're going to break up and get clumpy. So I give those a nice stir. And I think we are good to go. So the next thing we're going to do, and that's it, that's the hard part done. All of our ingredients are in there. We've got chocolate chip cookie dough. Resist the urge to eat it now. It's not done yet. So we're going to do our baking sheets next. I like to line my baking sheets with these silicone reusable baking mats. These are washable, you can use them over and over and over again, and it keeps the cookies from sticking to your baking sheet. It also makes cleanup super simple at the end. And if you don't have those or you don't want to invest in those, no big deal. You can also just use some parchment paper. You can get them in a box like this, where they're already cut to cookie sheet size like this, and those you would also just lay right on your cookie sheet and put your cookie dough right on top of there. It does the same thing, it keeps the cookies from sticking to the sheet, and it makes cleanup a breeze. You can just bake your cookies. When you're all done, take your parchment paper off, toss it, and you're good to go. So we're gonna go ahead and use this. All right. So next, we're going to put our dough onto our cookie sheet. So I just use a regular kitchen teaspoon, and we're gonna do about 1-inch balls. So I scoop about a spoonful, and we're just gonna roll those up into a little ball and place them on our cookie sheet. Now as we're doing our dough balls here, we need to leave space in between them. I say about 1 inch or so. Leave that much space in between them because as the butter in the cookie dough melts in the oven, your cookies are gonna flatten and spread, and we don't want them all stuck to each other. So we're gonna just do this with all of our dough, get them all on there. I usually do about 3 in a row. Usually you can get about a dozen or so on a sheet. And then we're gonna pop those in our oven at a 350, which we already set our oven to. You can see it's heated up, it's ready to go. We're gonna do those for about 10 to 12 minutes. Now every oven is different. They bake at different temperatures, different speeds. The size of your balls will affect how long it cooks, so you wanna keep an eye on them. Starting at about that 8 or 9 minute mark, I would just peek at them. You can turn the oven light on and just look through the little front window, see how they're doing. What we're looking for is a nice golden brown edge. So we're gonna take a look at the edge of our cookies. As they start to brown, that's when we know they're ready, you can pull them out. And that's it, it's simple, you made cookies. So I'm gonna stick around and answer any questions. Please come up and grab a sample, taste them, because that's the best part is tasting the treats that you made. If you need an extra copy of the recipe, I've got them up here. Go ahead and come on up and grab them. Thank you all so much. I can't wait to hear about all of the great things that you bake at home. Thank you and have a good day.